Hello everyone and welcome back to Car Venus 14. Now today we are going to be talking about, well, the character that I have been personally waiting for a very long time. I'm talking about way back in patch 1.1 basically. Ever since I heard Zhongli talking about her at the end of patch 1.1's quest, the quest for Liyue, I knew that she was going to be a pretty interesting character, and the hype around her built up ever since then. So I've basically been waiting for Raiden Shogun for around 8 months now, I think. 7-8 months, I believe. So yeah, nearly a full year, and finally she's coming very soon. Now today we're going to be talking about her skills and her basically we're just going to be doing a character overview on the Raiden Shogun. And for those of you who have been waiting just like I have for as long as I have, or maybe even longer than I have, or for shorter than I have, well, you're welcome to join us. Now we have currently three pieces of information. Well, 4 pieces of information. She's a 5-star. She is a polearm user, so a lot of people, if you guys didn't know, I did actually make a Raiden Shogun video back in the day, like a few months ago, I think it's been now. I can't remember how long it's been. But in that video, I basically made my predictions on what Raiden Mei will actually be. Now, in that video, I said she was actually going to be a sword user, but now it's confirmed that she is a polearm user, and yeah, basically she is a polearm user. Now I know in the official gacha art she does use a sword, but well, let's just say she is going to be using a polearm user. Trust me on this one. So yeah, she is a polearm user. She is obviously, her element is electro, and she's born on the 26th of June. So if anyone has a birthday on the 26th of June, well, you're a very lucky man. I envy you. But yeah, anyway, moving through. Now we're going to look at her stat progress. So basically, this is her what her max HP is. So it's around 12,907, and for comparison, that is just that literally is 200 HP over Zhao. So Zhao has 200 HP less than Raiden Shogun. So yeah, there's that. So she has 200 more HP than Zhao does. Her base attack goes up to 337. Now that's a pretty healthy number for a 5-star. So again, this is like around like Zhao has one of the highest base attacks in the game, so I am going to be comparing her and him a lot. So compared to Zhao, this is, I believe, around 6 attack less, if I remember correctly. Zhao has 343 base attack, Raiden Shogun 337, so yeah, that's around 6. Now in terms of defense, I can't actually remember the exact defense numbers because, let's be honest, defense isn't really an important stat in the game. So yeah, we're just going to gloss over that. 789, I don't know if that's high or low, to be fair. But yeah, anyway, her ascension passive is electro damage bonus, a bit like I'm pretty sure Venti has animo damage bonus as his ascension stat, and Zhongli with geo damage bonus. So you can probably tell what kind of character she's going to be already. And then crit rate and crit damage, obviously, they're going to be the same. Now, as for Ascension materials, you may recognize and unrecognize some of the materials here. So this material, as you know, these are the electro gemstones that which you get from the electro hypostasis. Now, as for this material, we don't know. Well, we do know the name for it, except I forgot. But it's actually not in the game yet. This is a world boss material that actually is not in the game yet. Now, apparently, it's supposed to be coming in patch 2.1, so we'll be able to farm this when we get into 2.1, basically. Now, as for this material, the regional specialty, all the third materials required for a character ascension is regional specialties. Now these regional specialties are not actually in the game yet either. Now I believe these will actually be coming out on an island called Watatsumi Island, which is supposedly coming soon. So yeah, we'll be able to farm these at a later date, but as of right now, we won't be able to farm the world boss material, and we won't be able to farm these materials, the regional specialties, yet. What we can actually farm though is these. Now These, again, I've forgotten the name of them, but these are actually dropped from the samurai. So you know the samurai mobs that you find around Inazuma? Yeah, you basically, these basically, when you defeat them, they're dropped by the samurais. So, you know, the fire samurais, the electro samurais, the ronin samurais, those guys drop these materials. And, of course, the amount of Mora. Now, that's her basic overall character ascension stats and what you need in order to farm for them. Now, she is a polearm user, so like I said, she has 5 consecutive spear strikes. Now, the other 3 5-star polearm users in the game, Zhao, Zhongli, and Hu Tao, they all have 6. Like a 6-hit combo, whereas Raiden Shogun only has 5. So she's a bit like Rosaria in that case. So yeah. You can see her damage multipliers right here. Now, as for her damage multipliers are higher than Zhongli, but they are a little bit lower than Zhao and Hu Tao. But overall, Zhao, Hu Tao, and Raiden Shogun will actually be doing around the same damage. It's just that Zhao and Hu Tao will only be doing, like, not that, they'll be doing more damage, but not by that much. Like, maybe, like, literally a few, 110, few hundreds, few tens maybe, something like that. But basically what I'm trying to say is Raiden Shogun is up there in terms of her DPS number, in terms of her DPS game for along with Hu Tao and Zhao. So yeah, she could definitely be a very, very good, decent DPS. Now, as for her charge attack, she actually performs an upward slash, so it's not like a normal dash through like Zhangling, Rosaria, and Zhongli and Hu Tao have. Instead, it's a bit like Zhao's one. So basically, Zhao's charge attack, he actually chucks enemies upwards into the air, and what is it? Raiden Shogun also does the same thing there. So her and Zhao are the only 2 polearm users in the game that actually don't dash forwards with their charge attack, which is definitely a nice change. Now, as you can see, this is her elemental skill. It's called Transcendence, Baleful Light. The Raiden Shogun unveils a shard of her euthymia, dealing electro damage to nearby opponents and granting nearby party members the Eye of the Stormy Judgment. So what this is basically saying is, when Raiden Shogun uses her elemental skill, she basically does an initial blast of electro damage, and then will come the after damage, which is called the Eye of the Stormy Judgment. Now, the Eye of the Stormy Judgment is when a character with this buff attacks and hits opponents, the Eye will unleash a coordinated attack, dealing AoE electro damage at the opponent's position. The Eye can initiate 1 coordinated attack every 0.9 seconds per party. So what this basically means is the Eye of Stormy Judgment is basically like a heat-seeking missile. So when you attack an opponent, right, what the Eye of Stormy Judgment will actually do is it will throw out like an electro orb, or basically electro energy at the enemy that you're attacking, and it will basically deal a blast of AoE damage, electro AoE damage. So this blast will do AoE electro damage, and it says it's a coordinated attack. So if the enemy does actually disappear right after you attack them, like for, let's say, a ruin like a Fatui agent, sorry, you know, the guys that say when you kill them you can't run from debt, yeah, those guys, when they go invisible, the Eye will still be able to find them, which is really, really good, because let's say you lose track of them, but the Eye actually hits them, you can then run to that location and actually do some decent damage. And let's not forget, if you use Electro, Cryo, Pyro, or Hydro on the Fatui agent while they're invisible, it will actually show an outline of where they are. So this could be really good for finding those Fatui agents in those regards as well. This is the actual damage multipliers around level 8, which is actually not that bad. The coordinated attack damage does 67.2%, which is actually pretty decent. And look at this, the Eye of Stormy Judgment itself, right? So the actual coordinated attack thing, the seal that appears like, you know, this seal thing basically, it lasts for 25 seconds even at level 1, which is a really long time. Basically, you can have this buff going a really long time. And let's not forget, The eye can initiate one coordinated attack every 0.9 seconds. Basically, every single second, you're going to be shooting AoE electro damage. Now, this is really, really good if you're planning to use Raiden Shogun for a support, for like a sub DPS or a support DPS. This is really, really good because her eye actually lasts for so long. But if you're like me, who's going to be using her as a main DPS, again, this is going to be really, really useful for her. So yeah, what is it? Further down the line, I do plan on making a build guide for Raiden Shogun with what the current equipment actually gives us, with what the game actually has for us right now. So I do plan on making a build guide at some point. Now, next up, we move to Raiden Shogun's ultimate. It's called Secret Art. Muso Shinsetsu. Yeah, that's a mouthful to say. Muso Shinsetsu. Gathering truths unnumbered and wishes uncounted. Wishes uncounted, not uncounted. The Raiden Shogun unleashes the Masuo no Hitotachi and deals AoE electro damage. Using Masuo Ishin in combat for a certain duration afterwards, the damage dealt by Masuo no Hitotachi and Masuo Ishin's attacks is based on the number of Raiden Shogun's Shogun Byakugan no Rin's resolve stacks consumed when this skill is used. So basically, I know this is quite a long thing to comprehend, so I'll try and break it down. So what this basically means is there's actually two forms of damage here. So the first one is the Masuo no Hitotachi. Now, if you don't know what the Masuo no Hitotachi is, basically Raiden Shogun will do a huge slash, like a huge initial amount of burst damage. Then Masuo no Ishin is basically the after damage that does that. And we'll read up on Masuo no Ishin and Shogun Byakugan no Rin's resolve stacks. So Masuo Ishin, while in this state, Raiden Shogun will wield her Tachi in battle. So what a Tachi basically is it's basically like an alternate variant of a katana. So basically she'll wield a sword in her ultimate form. Yes, she does wield two weapons. Maybe not in the way we would have wanted her to, but hey, she still wields two weapons. So you know what? I'm okay with that. In fact, I'm more than okay with that. I'm really ecstatic about this, to be fair. So in this state, Raiden Shogun will wield her Tachi in battle. So like I said, it's an alternate variation of her katana. While her normal charged and plunging attacks will be infused with electro damage, which cannot be overridden. So basically, her normal charged and plunging attacks will deal electro damage. So basically, she'll become an electro damage dealer in this Masuo Ishin form. And listen to this, it cannot be overridden. So what this effectively means is, if you, let's say, accidentally C6'd your Bennett or put Chongyun in your team with their Cryo Field and their Pyro Field, Raiden Shogun will still deal electro damage because this damage cannot be overridden. So she will always do electro damage no matter what the circumstances is, which is really, really good. Obviously, I'm not saying you should pair her with C6 Bennett and Chongyun because obviously that's not good for anyone. But yeah. It cannot be overridden, which again is a really, really nice bonus. When such attacks hit opponents, she will regenerate energy for all nearby party members. So basically, she becomes like a battery in this ultimate form, which can be really good. Again, improving her support game. Energy can be restored this way once every 1 second, which is very, very good, very consistent. And this effect can be triggered 5 times throughout the skill's duration. So she can only trigger this 5 times throughout her skill duration. So basically, once every 5 seconds, basically, she'll be able to activate this. While in this state, the Raiden Shogun's resistance to interruption is increased, and she's immune to electrocharge damage reactions. So basically what this means is if an enemy tries to interrupt you with like a really heavy attack, she'll probably say no to that move. So let's say the Electro Lore Shell starts charging right into you. Raiden Shogun will basically say no and not tank the damage, but basically she won't receive any knockback, so she can keep her combo going. She will still take damage, but she'll basically won't be staggered or put in a knockback position, so she can keep her combo going, which is really good. And she's immune to electrocharge. Now, again, this is really good because let's say you're fighting in a body of water and there's a load of electro enemies around. When you're in Masuo Ishin, you basically won't take any damage from electrocharge or any knockback or stagger from the electro charge reaction. Basically, when you're fighting in water with a lot of electro opponents, you are immortal. That's basically what this says. So it's really, really good. Now, as for what Shogun Byakugan no Rin is, trust me, Shogun Byakugan no Rin is actually not a mouthful to say, unless, even for me, to be fair. Shogun Byakugan no Rin, well, it definitely does look complicated, but trust me, it's actually not that difficult. When nearby party members use their elemental burst, the Raiden Shogun will build up resolve stacks based on the amount of energy they consume. The maximum amount of resolve stacks is 60. So, basically, what this means is, when a character uses their elemental burst, Raiden Shogun will basically gain a certain amount of stacks towards that, towards her resolve stack. Now, what does her resolve stack do? Well, as you can see down here, it basically gives her bonus damage. Now, 0.88% if you plan on taking her to level 8, or if you plan on triple crowning her like I am, basically that's 0.97% extra damage coming from, you know, her stacks. Now, I believe this multiplier is only for one stack of Shogun Byakugan no Rin, so the full 60 stacks, you'll basically have to do 60 multiplied by 0.97. Now, if I'm not mistaken, what is that? That's around 58.2%, if I'm correct. I think around that mark, something like that. So 58.2% around level 10, 58.2% extra damage. I do apologize if my math is wrong, but I think it's around that mark, like 58%, something like that. Yeah. Anyway, that's basically what her resolve stacks does. Now, you guys might be thinking, oh, so if I use a character with 60 energy burst, it will basically give her the full stack straight away, right? Well, that's what I initially thought, but then I realized that the resolve stacks gained actually consume, you know, a certain amount. So I actually calculated this at level 10. If a character with an energy cost of 60 uses their ultimate, like, let's say, Sucrose, I believe Sucrose is 40, is it not? Well, basically, a character with an energy cost of, 60, when they use it, if you multiply 60 by 0.2, that will actually only be 12 stacks, because 60 multiplied by 0.2 is 12, so that will effectively mean Raiden Shogun will only get 12 stacks. So, basically, what you're going to have to do is, if you use 3 characters that have an energy burst of 60, that in total will be 36 stacks. So, and if you're thinking about 80 energy cost, that is around 18 stacks, I believe. So, yeah. Around 18 stacks, so 18 plus 18, 36, and another 18 again, that would be, well, 54, I believe, 54, something like that. So yeah, basically, you still won't be able to reach the full 60, but I do believe this also takes into account Raiden Shogun's own ultimate, so effectively, you will be able to reach the 60, provided you play your cards right. So yeah. And like I said, in Masuo Ishin form, so like I said, Masuo no Hitotachi, basically she does a full like AoE damage at level 8, which is 672%, which is really good, and level 10, 706%. So again, that's really, really good. So a lot of burst damage in a very quick succession. So yeah, and then Masuo Ishin, because what happens when she is in Masuo Ishin is she basically converts into a sword user. So basically, her damage multipliers, I believe, are they are a little bit higher than her normal base attack. As you can see here, 79.82%. Well, we'll look at level 8 first. 70.66%, and go back to the normal attack here. 67.77%. So yes, we are a little bit higher in Masuo Ishin form. So she does do a little bit more damage in Masuo Ishin form. So I guess that's really, really good. Her charge attacks, I believe, go down from, look at that. So her charge attack cost goes from 20, it was 25 in her polearm form, but in her sword form, she uses 20. So again, that's really good if you want to spam your charge attacks with her. Now, as for her duration, Masuo Ishin, she's only available to be in this form for 7 seconds, which personally, in my opinion, is a little bit low, because it does mean that you won't be able to actually use her Masuo Ishin form that long. And when she is in Masuo Ishin, remember, she does restore energy for your party members. At level 8, that's 2.3 energy. And at level 10, that's 2.5. I really wish her ultimate lasts longer, but I think the reason that her ultimate doesn't last as long as, let's say, Zhao's ultimate or Hu Tao's elemental skill, when they both enter their elemental stances. With Zhao, he does animo damage, and with Hu Tao, her elemental skill does pyro damage. The reason I think that they don't that her Masuo Ishin, her elemental stance form, doesn't last as long as those two is because Zhao and Hu Tao don't actually have an initial burst damage when they both enter their forms. I believe Hu Tao does, but it's not big. That's why her one actually lasts for a really long time. And so does Zhao. Zhao doesn't actually do any initial burst damage when he enters his Bane of All Evil ultimate form. So I think that's why Zhao's one lasts for around 15 seconds, I believe, something like that. And Hu Tao's is around that time as well. So compared to the duration of Zhao and Hu Tao, Raiden Shogun doesn't really last that long, but I think it's because it's to equalize the amount of burst damage that she actually does initially. So I may be wrong here, but at least that's what I think. So in order to equalize her out, I think they made her burst damage do a lot and then make her Masuo Ishin last a lot less, so she doesn't basically outscale the other two, and the power creep doesn't get ridiculous. So yeah. At least that's what I think. She also has an energy cost of 80, so yeah, you will need some energy recharge on her, or you could run another Electro character, like maybe the Electro Traveler, and we all know how amazing the Electro Traveler's battery recharge is. So, in fact, a lot of people are saying he's now the next, he's now the new best battery, so he's taken that throne, he's taken the throne away from Fischl, basically, so yeah. Now, moving on to the talents. So if you want to upgrade her talents, the material you're going to need is, if you guys can't see that properly, it's basically the scrolls with the shrine gates. I don't know what they're called, but it's the scrolls with the shrine gates. So you know those Japanese style shrine gates. It's basically the scrolls with that picture on it. You're also going to need the same mob material, so the samurai material, basically from the samurai mob. So the Electro Samurai, the Pyro Samurai, and the Ronin Samurai. And then you're also going to need what it looks like a flower. Now, this is a new weekly boss material. Now, we don't know when this weekly boss is going to be coming, but I'm presuming it's going to be in the next patch, just to make life easier for us so that we can farm more things up for her. So this is a new weekly boss, if you didn't know. We can't actually farm this material just yet, so we're going to have to wait until we can farm her. So yeah, but that's what you're going to need if you want to, you know, level her up. And if you are going to level 10 her, like I am, then you will need a crown as well. Or 3 crowns, depending on how you want to do it. Now, as for her passive talents, her first one is called Wishes Unnumbered. When nearby party members gain elemental orbs or particles, Shogun Byakugan no Rin. I literally just said that wasn't as difficult to pronounce, and that here's me stumbling over it. So yeah, anyway, as I was saying, Shogun Bakugan no Rin gains resolve stacks by like 2 resolve stacks instead of 1. This effect can occur every 3 seconds. So basically what this effectively means is this is good for Raiden Shogun's support game, because if you're playing her as a DPS, you're probably not going to be switching her out that often unless you're switching out for like elemental reactions and stuff. But yeah, as I was saying, basically when a party member obtains elemental orbs, Shogun Bakugan no Rin, she gains 2 resolve stacks instead of 1. So what that effectively means is she'll basically be able to get to her number 60 a lot less. So you see her maximum resolve stacks is 60. Usually you would gain around 1, but now you gain 2, or well, not 1, but you know, you gain around yeah, you would gain around around this much, whatever the number says. You guys can read that for yourself. But yeah, she would gain 2 resolve stacks, which is really good for getting her stacks up, because that means in her ultimate form she'll be able to do a lot more damage. Now, it can occur once every 3 seconds, which isn't that bad. Now, her second passive, Enlightened One, gives us a much more, a better description of how you'd want to build her. So for each 1% above energy, 100% energy recharge that Raiden Shogun possesses, it will grant her 0.6% greater energy restoration from Masuo no Ishin. So basically, she will restore her party members' energy much faster with Masuo no Ishin, and she'll gain 0.4% electro damage bonus. Now, what this effectively means is, do you want to build energy recharge on her? Well, I think building energy recharge on her for the electro damage bonus would be really, really good. And besides, because she has an energy cost of 80, I think it would actually prove to be very, very good on her. Now, if you hit around 200% energy recharge, by the way, the amount of electro damage bonus that you're actually going to get is around 40%, which is actually a ridiculous amount. 40% electro damage bonus combined with her ascension passive of 28.8%, that's basically 68.8%. If you can get to 200%, obviously, but still, even if you have 150%, that's a lot of electro damage bonus that's coming from her. So building energy recharge on her might actually be the way to go, but who knows, we'll have to find out. And then her last passive, which is actually really, really unique, and I think actually could be quite beneficial to some people. It's called All Preserver. So Mora expended when ascending swords and polearms is decreased by 50%. So what this effectively means is, when you're ascending, not when you're leveling up, when you're ascending a sword or a polearm, the price will basically be cut down by half. So let's say it takes 100,000 Mora to upgrade a polearm from Ascension Phase 3 to Ascension Phase 4. Instead of using the full 100,000 Mora, I will only have to pay 50,000 Mora because of this passive. So it can be really, really good for people that are struggling with Mora, or even people with loads of Mora and they just want to save a little bit. Like, for example, me, I've got a load of Mora, but I'm still a little bit wary of how I want to spend that Mora. So yeah, this could be really, really useful. And because it's like swords and polearms, which are two of the most popular weapon types in Genshin Impact, it could be really, really useful for them. So yeah. Anyway, in terms of constellations, now, I'm not going to be rolling for multiple copies of Raiden Shogun, so this doesn't really bother me that much, but for those of you guys that are going to be, here they are. So, Ominous Inscription. Shogun Bakugan no Rin will gather resolve even faster. When electro characters use their elemental burst, the resolve gained is increased by 80%. When characters of other elemental types use their elemental burst, the resolve stacks gained is increased by 20%. So what this effectively means is she will gain her Shogun Byakugan no Rin stacks much, much faster, and that basically means you can reach 60 stacks much faster, meaning you can put out more damage much faster, which is ridiculous. So her first constellation is actually looking pretty nice, and it does go to show that you may want to pair her up with electro characters. So yeah, Pledge of Proprietary. Okay. Pledge of Property. I'm just going to call it that. I can't be asked anymore. When Masuo Ishin state applied by Secret Art Musou Shinetsu expires, all nearby party members, excluding the Raiden Shogun, gain 30% bonus attack for 10 seconds. So again, this is good for a support game. So what this basically means is, when you use your elemental skill within your elemental burst, all party members will gain a 30% bonus attack for 10 seconds, excluding the Raiden Shogun. So this is really, really good for Raiden Shogun's support game. Shinkage Bygones, this just increases her elemental skill by 3, and Steelbreaker CE4. While in Masuo Ishin state, applied by Secret Art Masuo Shinetsu, Masuo Shinetsu is the thing that she uses. Oh, okay, no. Sorry, sorry, anyway, back to C2. So, Masuo Shinetsu is actually her elemental burst. So when she uses Masuo Ishin in her burst form, she will basically gain her comrades will basically gain 30% bonus attack for 10 seconds. Now, Steelbreaker. When Masuo Ishin state applied by Secret Art Masuo Shinetsu, the Raiden Shogun's attacks ignore 60% of opponent's defense. So okay, this is really good for her DPS. So basically, she will basically ignore 60% of opponent's defense. So what that effectively means is, she'll do more damage to opponents. That's effectively what this means. So basically, if opponents have defense, 60% of that is basically just gone from the opponent, and that means you can do more damage to them. So yeah, really, really good for her DPS. Shogun's Descent, this is her Elemental Burst upgrade, and Wishbearer. While in Maso Ishin state, applied by Secret Art Miso Shinetsu, the Raiden Shogun's normal charge and plunging attacks will decrease all party members, but not including Raiden Shogun herself, Elemental Burst cooldown by 1 second when they hit opponents. This effect can trigger once every 1 second and can trigger a total of 5 times during the state. So what this basically means is, you can decrease your character, all your party members, not Raiden Shogun herself, but your party members' Elemental Burst cooldown up to 5 seconds in her Masuo Ishin form, which again is really good for her support game. So her constellations, only her C4 I think would actually be really good for her DPS, but you could definitely make the others work around her support as well. So yeah, anyway guys, that's basically all of Raiden Shogun's you know, skills and character overview. If you guys did enjoy this video, please make sure to like and subscribe. I will be making a speculated build guide video on Raiden Shogun as well, hopefully soon. So yeah, if you guys want to see the build guide for her, please leave a like, subscribe, and notification bells on, because you will see that video. Anyway guys, I have been Carvenus14 and still am, and I hope you guys are excited to roll for Raiden Shogun, as am I, and I will see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.